deal with airplane peanuts.
We're a little rode hard from SkankFest.
I was like, I wish I was at SkankFest.
It's the best. SkankFest, there's nothing like SkankFest.
Hey, this is Redman coming to you live from SkankFest! Here in Las Vegas, Nevada!
If you ask most comedians to name their favorite festival, there's a good chance the answer will be SkankFest. Created by the members of the Legion of Skanks podcast, the very first SkankFest took place in New York City back in 2017. And as we're about to hear from Luis J. Gomez later in this video, SkankFest originated as an ironic way to mock other comedy festivals at the time that were charging comedians an arm and a leg to submit. But what started off as a joke and a few hundred people in a comedy club has since flourished into one of the premier annual comedy events on Earth, with lineups that include the likes of Shane Gillis, Tim Dillon, and Tony Hinchcliffe, just to name the tip of the iceberg. But as the careers of all these comedians has risen, so too has the hype around SkankFest, leaving this year's festival to be the most anticipated weekend yet.
This past year was so big, like the amount of people talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm nervous now that it's not going to be as many skanks that are at SkankFest, and there's going to be a bunch of normal people there this year that don't know what they're
going to be scared off.
They're going to be
They're going to be scared off very quickly.
Because we have like a lot of mainstream comics in there.
Yeah.
I mean, all of our friends have become famous and mainstream at this point.
We recently spoke with Luis J. Gomez while he was responsibly driving through the streets of New York City to break down exactly what sets SkankFest apart from every other festival, the common misconceptions surrounding the event, and the biggest differences between the original SkankFest in 2017 versus the one happening next weekend.
I mean, just the massive size of it. You know, SkankFest 1, it was half a joke, I would say. We're sort of throwing it as a mockery to what comedy festivals were. There were comedy festivals that were charging comedians, you know, submission fees. And, you know, we just wanted to essentially throw a big party, not charge comedians to submit, and just make it something that was made by comedians for, you know, real comedy fans. And the first SkankFest was just a few hundred people at the Creek in the Cave, and now we're doing a few thousand people per day in Las Vegas. This one in general, it's the most shows we've ever done, more surprises than we've ever done before. And a big part of that is just the fact that everyone has just gotten so, you know, comedy, there's more rock star comedians than there ever has been before, right? By far, it's the biggest boom we've ever had in comedy. So you're getting sort of like the scale of it has grown in a weird way. You know, we obviously always have massive comedians on, and we're always looking to bring in the best comedians in the world, but our friends have just grown with the festival. And in the past 7 years, you watch the guys that we started with, the guys that we grew up with. Now it's like there's 60 or 70 actual legit headliners on the festival, whereas I think year one, there was maybe a half dozen.
Most comedy fans have an idea of what SkankFest is, even if they haven't been there, based on how it's being covered or the stories that they hear comedians tell on podcasts. But what do you think is the biggest misconception about SkankFest?
I think the biggest misconception about SkankFest is that it is this, you know, if you're, I guess, if you're on the outside, I think it looks like aggressive. I think the Legion of Skanks audience, the reputation of the Skanks fans online, you know, I think that paints the picture a little bit for people that are on the outskirts. They go like, well, what is this? They sort of see that, you know, the fans can be trolls, and they troll us. They troll me more than anybody else.
You guys are going to invent a new... Something's coming out of it. A new strain is coming out of it. It is a real wet market. It's literally, it's all evil KFC employees gather. Evil KFC employees gather and are like, we should do acid and spit on each other and piss. Oh, I threw up on a girl.
It's just people passing out.
Evil
just
Popeyes employees.
KFC employees.
It's Goth KFC Employees Festival. And you get to watch like podcasters box. It makes no sense.
It rules.
It does rule. It rules. It rules, and I love it.
Wildly impressive.
Oh,
so
it's
fun.
so stupid.
It's
wow,
so
God,
fun.
dude. But if you look at some of it, you're like, what the is happening here?
The online world is much different than the real world, and I think that's a microcosm of just society. You know, if you go to the supermarket, people aren't screaming at each other about their political or social beliefs. If you go to the mall and shop, you know, everyone's just sort of going and buying their school clothes and supplies for the day. Like, that's how society really is. And I think that's the same thing when you deal with the Legion of Skanks, fan base, once you get offline and you meet these people, they're the sweetest people in the world. And I have people that I meet every year. I have people that troll me, that I meet them, and then I find out that they I'm like, dude, you troll me every day on the internet. But then they go like, oh, we're just fucking around. And you have to remind yourself of that, because this is how we all started off. Like, we all started off doing these podcasts, and we were playing house. We were playing like radio station, right? Nobody was making money in the beginning to do it. It wasn't a real career. We were just kind of going like, oh, we're radio guys now. We're just kind of like playing this game. And a lot of the fan base, they grew up with us. The Legion of Skanks fan base is a large percentage of the people that listen to our shows. They've watched me grow up as a human being. We started this podcast 13 years ago, before I had a pot to piss in, before I was a father, before Gas Digital existed, before SkankFest existed, or any of these amazing things that we did. We had Legion of Skanks as a podcast, and we were three dudes that were just figuring it out. I feel like the Legion of Skanks fan is much more valuable than the average comedy fan, and they're much more passionate than the average comedy fan. So on the negative side, I think people think that they're going to be a bunch of racist trolls that are just screaming out, every horrible word possible. And then what I think is what's cool is they get to SkankFest, and there's a lot more people that are coming this year and every year that aren't a part of the actual Legion of Skanks audience, that maybe they're just comedy fans in general. And then they get there and they go, oh my God, these are the sweetest people in the world who are so extremely educated about comedy. They really get it. Like when we had Louis C.K. come back at SkankFest a few years ago, we didn't have to tell people not to pull out their cell phones. Our audience knows to not heckle. They're just such a respectful audience when it comes to comedy, because they listen to the podcast and they listen to us talk about our experiences with bad comedy audiences. It's what I hear from every comedy club that I go to. It's like, oh yeah, your audience tips really well, because we talk about it. We say we talk about how they should tip the wait staff well, and that's a great way to show support for the comedians, because it reflects on us. When the wait staff makes a lot of money that weekend, they go, oh, that was great. That audience is awesome. We like those people. Yeah, I mean, when people drop checks on me at my shows when I headline, some clubs still drop checks when you're on stage. My audience is just a little more respectful. They don't start talking and they don't pull out their phones to do math. They just know how annoying it is, because we verbalize it in a different way, and they get to see how the sausage is made, and they get to see behind the scenes on a much different level when you're a podcast fan.
Well, you're in the car right now, so I'm not sure if you could show us a trick, but how prepared are you and excited are you for Coke Magic?
I'm very excited for Coke Magic. Prepared is a weird way to put it, because I had to pull back on my preparation. I couldn't get too good. Shane Gillis told me that. He's like, dude, you can't be this good at magic, because I was doing shows with him and I was doing magic backstage, and I'm like learning sleight of hand magic right now, and I'm getting just into it. My ADHD itch is being scratched in a different way, so I'm learning some fun stuff. Luckily, the show that I'm doing at SkankFest, Coke Magic Live, we're doing it twice. It's a stage show. I don't have the ability to really practice the tricks as much. I'm doing a few more run-throughs before SkankFest, but it's likely going to be a little bit clunky, but that's what's beautiful about it. Coke Magic, when we did it during the pandemic, it was Shane Gillis, Dan Soder, and Zach Amico, and it was me trying to do close-up magic tricks on a Zoom call, and just it was so bad that it was hilarious, and it was them roasting me and trashing me and making fun of me and trying to mess me up, and that is the beautiful. Shane Gillis and Dan Soder and Zach Amico are going to be playing the part of the uncle who's trying to ruin the magician's experience at a birthday party while I'm trying to get through this magic show that I've only run through a few times. We're doing SkankFest this year that we've never done before. We're doing a lot more experimental stuff. We're doing a lot more things that we're giving it a shot for the first time. A lot more surprise guests. I was saying that before, but like the amount of people that just have contracts in Vegas that they couldn't be announced, because they're like, we'll do it, but we can't actually be announced because we're going to be performing at certain casinos. There's a lot of that as well. A lot of people that you wouldn't expect at SkankFest, and some special shows that we're doing that we haven't done before. Some special shows that we're doing at SkankFest that we have done before that we haven't done in a couple of years. So really cool stuff. The advice that I give to anybody coming to SkankFest is don't be married to the schedule. Be fluid. Pop into secret shows, pop into different things that you don't think you're not really planning on. You can see so much, and I think if you're obsessed with just seeing certain shows, I think you're going to miss a lot of other things that are happening that are unplanned.
You appeared on the Kill Tony Madison Square Garden episode, but your appearance prior to that one with the kidney stone, you promised one of the bucket pulls a spot on the SkankFest lineup.
You guys may know that Luis J. Gomez runs the undisputed now greatest comedy festival in the world, SkankFest. And tonight, he has informed me, with all of his good power and grace, that he will be awarding one comedian a chance to perform at SkankFest. So someone tonight is going to, could be a regular, could be a golden ticket winner, could be someone out of the bucket.
It could be Red Band. Who knows? We'll see what happens. It's going to be a crazy night, I'll tell you right now. But not only just perform, Tony, they're going to perform on the elite shows. They're going to be on the shows with you. They're going to be on the shows with Shane Gillis, Mark Normand, and Big J. These are going to be big shows, and we're going to put them up in a suite in Vegas. We're going to fly them out. We're going to give them the VIP experience.
How about that?
It's going to be wild.
That cool or what? Louis J. Gomez contributing to the show. Sal?
I also have every season on DVD for whoever.
I think more than anything, it'll be one of their favorite memories in comedy. That's probably my assumption. Will be this is gonna be the first time where they feel like a rock star. Jack Shaw was the person we invited, and he's great. He's very funny. He will walk away from that and he will say that was the greatest experience of my life in comedy, and that's a really cool thing for me. It's not an industry festival. It's not like it'll turn into a movie or a TV deal, but yeah, look, it's just a ton of fun, and we deserve to have a lot of fun. One weekend a year, I get to feel like I'm an actual rock star. We share that with all of the comedians that come out. A lot of these guys that are on smaller podcasts, a lot of these guys that are in regional areas, like the Philly guys, and a lot of the younger guys from Austin, they come out and then they get recognized by hundreds of people, and people are asking them to take pictures with them, and it's just very concentrated for that weekend, and it feels really cool, and it reminds you why you do this.
How are you feeling about SkankFest? What are your expectations for this VIP experience? I'm sure you didn't see that coming.
Dude, I had no idea. As you know, everyone's across the street at a bar, Poor Choices, and we have no access to the show. I don't know what's going on. I didn't know who the guests were. I didn't know that was the thing of the night to get. I'm still a bit in shock about it, truthfully. I can't wait. The lineup is insane. It's with people I idolize. It's a little bit unfathomable that I'm in this position. So I'm just grateful, honestly.
On the opposite end of this spectrum is the perspective of the seasoned vet comics from New York who have been attending SkankFest for years.
SkankFest 2024 is coming up right around the corner. What are your thoughts on year 3 in Vegas, and do you have any overall predictions for the weekend?
Yeah, my prediction is that I'm leaving every piece of money I've ever made back in New York. I'm tired of losing money on these fucking fun Vegas excursions, okay? I need to get a handler, have them duct taped at my side so I don't pay the penny slots till 5 a.m. And other than that, I'm excited. It'll be great.
For those of you who want to tune into the SkankFest action live, a stream is available at mintcomedy.com/SkankFest. And just like last year, we will be there with our boots on the ground to cover everything that happens and report it back right here on Joke World. So just take a second right now to make sure you're subscribed. Boy, would it be awkward if you weren't. Guest spots from last week. The Joe Rogan Experience had Robert Einstein, Protect Your Neck, and Tom Segura on the show. Tommy Buns was also on Kill Tony. Sam Talent joined Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Donnell Rawlings was on Whiskey Ginger. Are You Garbage welcomed Chris DiStefano and Mateo Lane. Sam Hyde and Nick Rochefort dropped by the Legion of Skanks. Charlie Day was on Birdcast. Rudy Jules returned to Bad Friends. Brian Simpson joined the Duncan Trussell Family Hour and came all over your mom's house. Sam Buck was on Dad Meat. Sean Gardini stopped in at Rough Week. Dana White was on Two Bears, One Cave. The Tim Dillon Show, Tuesdays with Stories, and Flagrant all did not have guests. Kathy Griffin was on The Honeydew. Joey Diaz was on You Be Trippin'. And Story Wars included Joe List, Ian Fidance, and H. Foley.
There are a lot of porches in Boston.
Yeah, 3-decker.
Is it a porch area, Boston?
There's porch. I mean, I was in the suburbs. There's porches, I guess.
He's stuttering.
And Joe was a horny little dog. He was, dude.
I was a horny dog.
Joe was a horny little dog.
You've been to my parents' house. There's no porches. I'm from a shit. You were
at someone else's house.
I know, but there's no porches anywhere near my town.
Foley, where'd you grow up?
Porchville.
Yeah. Porchville, next to Jerk-Off Town.
Well, it's from Jerk-Off Town, but my friends lived in Porchville.
He's from Portugal.
My friends I would have sleepovers with.
Portugal.
Whoa!
Joe. There we go.
This past weekend with the Yvonne featured Kevin Smith. Colin Terrell took a trip to Stuff Island. Esther Pavitsky took her shoes off with Rick Glassman. Simon Rex returned to We Might Be Drunk. Neil Brennan had Ed Helms on the Blocks podcast. Joe List and Sarah Tolomei were on Stavi's World. Mike Racine was on the Adam Friedland Show podcast. Sarah Tolomei was on You Know What Dude. Laszlo was on Soder. Chris Sullivan made it weird with Pete Holmes. Jason Ellis joined B and Ian with Jordan. Nadav sat in the way back with Ryan Sickler. Dan St. Germain and Sean Donnelly stopped by Only Fiends, and Ian Fidance was on the second episode of their podcast, The Burbs Bros. As far as new stand-up specials are either out right now or coming out soon, the big one last week was Mike Cannon Traumatized Animal, which can be found on the Chris DiStefano YouTube channel and is a full 53 minutes of great stand-up comedy. Other specials out right now on YouTube include Sarah Tolomei Butthole Money, Joe Gatto Messing with People, Nick Hoff America, and out right now on Netflix is Dion Cole OK Mister, Ahar Saha Ends, and on Peacock is Colin Jost and Michael Che, New York After Dark. We also have a few specials in the works right now that will be coming out soon. On September 22nd, Jay Farrow has a new special coming out on YouTube. September 24th, Ellen DeGeneres' For Your Approval will be out on Netflix, along with Ali Wong's Single Lady on October 8th, Hassan Minaj Off With His Head on October 22nd, and Tom Papa Home Free on October 29th. Also, it was officially announced that Jessica Kirsten's next stand-up special will be debuting on Hulu as they continue to push forward into the comedy world with their new department, Hulu's Laughing Now, which you can learn more about by watching the video we made covering Bill Burr's move to Hulu a while back. Other than that though, keep an eye on our main channel because we have some fun new videos planned to come out while we're at SkankFest, and then after SkankFest, hopefully we'll be returning with a new hot load of content. And as always, anyone interested in some free Joke World stickers being sent to you in the snail mail, check out the link in the description below, fill that out with your full address, and we'll send those over to you within a few weeks completely for free. Also, if you're going to SkankFest this year, we'll be walking around with these so you can get one in person. Definitely say what's up. And if you want a free wristband, a free Joke World wristband, we'll also be having this bushel of wristbands on us at all times. If you want one of these, they say Joke World and Funny Business. But the most important thing, we're going to SkankFest to report on it all back to you. So those of you who can't go, who are not able to go for whatever reason, you can learn all about it in our full video recapping the festival, Earth's best comedy festival, right here on Joke World.
At Joke World. That's it, at Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.